studio. Today I want to show you how to do the twice melted wax pendants. And I know I always say this, but I think this is really one of my favorite all-time projects. It just turns out so incredible every time. You get something different every time. So it's a lot of fun. So let's get started and show you how we do it. These are all the different pendants and necklaces and bracelets and all kinds of different fun things that I came up with using the wax as our color base and adding a little bit of glitter. And see how fun they are. And while we've got all the different shapes and sizes, and you can find some of the smaller ones and different ones in the stores, I found some really wonderful ones that we sell at Miriam Joy that I have not found in the stores. These are deeper. We have an oval. We also have a circle, which I've got running around here somewhere. We've got one here to show you, and pendants and a heart. And these are really, really great. They're deeper. Now the pendant is not quite as deep as the other ones are, but they work just as well. I melt my crayon in my low temp melting pot, and you can find those at miriamjoy.com. I use a Crayola crayon. I break it right about there into two pieces, peel the paper, and put it right in the well and let that warm. And then while it's warming, we're going to use glass eyedroppers, which you can also find on our site. And it's real important that they're glass and not plastic. And you're simply going to set that in the wax in the well, just right like that. And a lot of people want to know how they clean them, and I don't clean mine. I leave one for each color. The one thing that I will do is once I am done with a color is I'll make sure I squish it really well and get as much wax as I can out. You never want to pull the wax all the way up into the bowl, because once the wax dries it hardens and then it's really hard to get it working again. But they're inexpensive enough that you can do one for each color. So that's kind of the basics on how we're going to start that. The last one we're going to do is a stone, and I'm going to do a turquoise stone, but I want you to think of stones in different colors as well. You could do a red stone, you could do a black stone, you could do a yellow stone. They'd all be basically the same, and it'd actually keep the accent colors the same as we're going to do, just change the base color. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill this up, and you can use blue-green with white mixed half and half. This is robin's egg, so it's a little bit more blue. The blue-green would be a little bit more green. So however you want to do that, that is totally up to you. Now on this one, we are going to let this guy cool all the way down before we put his stone accents in him. So we're going to let him cool. I'm going to put my black lines on with my hobby knife. So I'm going to set my hobby knife on the side of my well and let it warm up in the wax. And just lift that straight out. And you can scrape it along the side. You don't want a lot of wax. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to make those lines here and there. Doesn't matter. You also can put these on with your wax liner if you wanted to. And you can see I'm cutting into the wax just a little bit. That's alright. There's nothing wrong or right about it. Just however you see it. So I've got that there. And then I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to put some white on. And I know you can't see, but one of the kind of things that I do is I will put my white on the top part of my well so I don't have to do the whole color, and just melt it just a little section while I've still got a different color in the well. And that works for just a little amount as we want. And we're just going to put enough white, not very much. In fact, I would like a little bit less on this top part up here. That it'll melt, so that's okay. Because you don't, a stone is usually not solid unless you have a very, very, very nice piece. And then I'm going to take my copper, because with turquoise there is copper, And I'm going to put it in the corner again and do the same thing with our wax brush and just flick it just a tiny bit, just like that. That's perfect. If you wanted the dots to stay smaller, you could do it after you heat the rest of it up and put them on top. These will get a little bit bigger because we'll warm them. So we're just going to warm this just to the point where it's kind of all melted and looks natural. Always start around the edges. We really don't want to move the wax around a lot. If you got too much white, and we'll see if we think that white's too much, we might come back and put some turquoise back over the top of that with our Q-tip. Just so that's not... There we go. You also could make the lines with your wax liner. You want to just move that a little bit. Not very much at all. Just know that you can play with it. You can do all kinds of things. I'm going to see if I can get some of this black to go away. Just kind of cover that up a little bit with the turquoise on top. There is no right or wrong with it. There. I like that just the way it is. You can see how our copper dots got bigger, and like I said, if you want them smaller, wait and do that at the end after it's completely dry, and they'll just be small little flecks. But there that is. If you want to do it a different way or a different color, all kinds of things you can do to make your stone or make the lines, the black lines, a lot smaller, but I really like that, and that's how we do our turquoise stone. And we can use different things to cover it. We've got 3D crystal lacquer and we've got Mod Podge. You may find that you prefer one over the other. The Mod Podge is supposed to be a little bit more heavy duty, so you could use that one if you prefer. But the crystal lacquer, I did a few of them with the crystal lacquer as well. So that's the reason we do not want the wax above, is we have to make sure that the crystal lacquer or the Mod Podge touches the metal. If it doesn't touch the metal, it's not going to seal the wax completely, and it's real important that we get a nice heavy coat on this so that the wax is sealed completely and it doesn't melt if somebody was wearing it and go anywhere. So that's real important. And I start around the edges. Make sure we're touching that metal, and just work your way in, and it's going to be a nice thick coat. If you have any bubbles, you can usually get them out with a pin, a straight pin, or come out. Sometimes you can just grab them and they'll come out. And we're just going to keep going around and around. Now you can see my wax actually goes down in, but that's okay because this is where the coat on top is going to cover all of that up. So then you would just let that completely dry, and that's going to take a while, probably overnight, if not longer, and just make sure it's nice and flat. And then once that's dry, all you're going to do is take your chain and run it through, and you have a necklace. If you enjoyed our video today, come on over to miriamjoy.com, where we've done a class DVD on the twice melted wax necklaces. And if you think that's easy to say, try it a few times. And there's Christmas ones, Halloween ones. We've got shows you how to do a stone, and we've also got kind of an oriental one there for you. So check those out. They're a lot of fun. I'm sure you're going to get as addicted as I did.